and thank you so much for joining us today. I am excited to be here with Chad Parmenter, who is one of my favorite advisors that I've worked with over the years, and I'm honored that he's joining us today. And of course, I have my good friend and partner, Amy Galley, who will be here to help show us some of the parts of the platform that relate to the way that Chad is marketing and how he's using FMG. I am going to just share my slides. Let's see. Let me pull this up. I apologize. I should have had this up before. While I'm doing this, I would love to know where everybody is dialing in from. If you can add that in the comments, I would really appreciate that. And maybe Amy, while I'm pulling this up, you can call out some of the locations. And for housekeeping purposes, everything is, we are recording this. We will be sending this out in a replay format for anybody that wants to see any of the slides and listen to any of the gems that Chad is going to share on their own time. So let me.
All right. We got New Hampshire. I'm an East Coast person originally, so right around there. We've got Orange County right down the street. I'm in Huntington right now. We've got Dallas, Chicago.
Oh wow.
Okay. Here we go.
Awesome. Excellent. And Chad, where are you coming in from?
I am coming in from Kirkland, Washington.
Excellent. Do we have any fellow Washingtonites in the audience? Please let us know. I am Susan Theder, and for those of you that have not met me before, virtually or in person, I'm the Chief Marketing and Experience Officer at FMG. I love what I do. I love our company, and I love working with our customers and hearing how they are benefiting from the platform and using it in their business. And hopefully we'll have a lot of great ideas today. Chad, I think I'll just show your picture and show your social handles because I'm going to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself in just a second. Today, what we're going to talk about is the role that marketing plays in Chad's success. He is one of the top advisors at Advisor Group or Osaic, and has had a journey with marketing like many of you, and would definitely not have called himself a marketing guru. So I think a lot of you can relate to his journey. He's going to talk about content marketing. That's really a big thrust of this webinar and how it fits into his overall strategy, including his website. And then what I think many people always want us to talk about is, does it work and how do you know? So we will get to that as well. So I will stop sharing this because we're going to just have a conversation. Let me start with maybe tell us a little bit about yourself and your firm, introduce yourself, and then what role does marketing play in your firm's growth?
All right. Well, that's a big question, Susan.
Yes,
Thanks for having me here. I appreciate it, and happy to kind of help everybody sort of explore what our experience has been from a marketing standpoint. Just for the record, my old marketing mantra was, if we do a really good job for our clients, we will have new people introduced to us. And I still stand by that, by the way, but that was about as much marketing as we used to do.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people relate to that. It's just, I used to actually, just quick interjection. I remember maybe 5 years ago when I would be talking about the benefits of marketing, and no joke, the majority of advisors would come up to me and say, that was interesting, but I don't market, I grow through referrals. And I'm like, that is marketing, but okay, but now I feel like 95% of advisors understand that marketing plays a role, but most of them probably were in the exact same shoes as you.
Yeah. And so, we also were down for COVID for about 2 years. We went home on March 6th, 2020, and we didn't come back fully to the office until January of 2022. So during that time frame, marketing essentially dried up for us. It was just managing our existing clients. Did we have a couple people reach out and want to become clients during that time? Yes, which was surprising to us. But it wasn't like we were proactively doing anything. And so when we came back into the office and started going again, it was like starting that locomotive up from zero. And we're kind of chugging along, and we replaced some systems, and we hired some new people, and we kind of updated our branding. We really, it was a moment in time where we kind of knew we needed to kind of change some things up. And we felt pretty good about it until all of a sudden we sort of looked around at each other and we're like, oh, we don't know what we're doing when it comes to marketing. And I happened to see Susan at a conference in October of last year. So it hasn't even been a full year since we've kind of figured out, oh, we could probably do some things differently, and we're not the experts. And so we've kind of leaned on FMG to help us design a sort of a cadence, for lack of a better word, on a monthly basis of sort of what we're doing and what we're producing and getting out there to complement some of the other things that we've done. So it's more of the digital and content type stuff that we've then subsequently been able to customize for our use.
Yes.
And I would say, getting back to, you asked about our practice real quick, we're a team of 4. We work we're introduced to people who are facing big life transitions that are emotional and complex typically. So it could be retiring from Microsoft to the loss of a loved one, to a divorce, to the sale of a business, to somebody who's kind of growing in their career path and dealing with a lot of change. That's generally who we're typically working with. And that stems from my father, unfortunately, passing away about 21 years ago, and my mother being a 60-year-old widow, as well as 2 other existing clients of ours who were going through divorces at the time. And I thought, wow, we could do differently. We could do a much better job for people facing those types of situations. So that's sort of the impetus for that niche, which I will tell you, having a niche, here's a nugget for everybody, does help with marketing.
And I don't think you even knew this, but the last webinar we did was with a woman who focuses on primarily women in transition, but not exclusively. And she in her conversation, what we realized is every advisor on this call is serving clients in transition. And
if they're not in the middle of it, they will be.
Right. And has served people. And what I think was sort of an aha moment for the audience at this last webinar, and hopefully for this as well, is that is a niche you can claim. Sometimes you'll have people doing a webinar on a niche marketing strategy that's working for them. That's, dentists in, Timbuktu. And they're like, I can't do that. But everybody, really every advisor can focus on that niche. I'd love to hear about your brand strategy and how you brought that niche to life, and the messaging that you use. Because I think, again, something that all the attendees can probably leverage and think about how that could relate to their business.
Well, I think we were pretty intentional, even going back to 2009 when I started. Mirus Planning is the name of our firm, and we are a financial planning centric firm more so than a wealth management centric firm. Like, you have to go through the financial planning process with us in order to become a client of ours. So that framework, I think, helps us be very clear about who we're trying to attract as a client and who we are trying to deflect as a client. And that may sound kind of brutal, but it's true. Not everybody's a good fit for us, and we're not necessarily a good fit for everybody. And we're okay with that. And we make that very, very clear through our branding, through our messaging, through what it is that we put out there in the world. Even our content a lot of times is influenced by non-financial matters. A lot of times we don't lead with, investment centric ideas or what's going to happen with the market or whatever. That's not us. We know there are other people that's what they're all about, and that's okay. But I would say that for us, we're kind of clear as to what we are and what we aren't. So
what are some of the, if you think about, and we'll show your website a little bit later, but if you were to, frame the messaging of the words around who you serve, and you did it in the beginning, people going through life transitions, listing the different transitions, but it's the pain points. I was saying actually yesterday on a panel that psychologically the fear of loss is twice as powerful as the pleasure of gain, and that clients, as well as your potential clients, your prospects, they are far more motivated and moved from inertia when there's a fear of loss, and in all those situations, they're like in the sale of a business, that's an upside. But what they're likely, the emotional part is, how do I make sure that I capitalize on this in the right way and I'm not doing anything wrong? I'm wondering if from a planning perspective, what are some of the challenges or the fears that you see in some of your clients, which can become great messaging points?
Well, I think ironically enough, use retirement or the sale of a business, both are kind of two sides of the same coin, so to speak, in terms of, the first thing is, am I going to have enough, right? Money.
Yeah. Yes. Am I going to have enough? Which is great. Right there is a takeaway for everybody. That can be messaging on your website that is really powerful. Speaking to, we help clients who are concerned about, will they have enough? Like that speaks to almost everybody. Yeah, that's
Right.
a good one.
I think that's a common thread. The thing that we see though, that you talk about loss, and I think the thing that a lot of people don't pay enough attention to with their clients, this is my observation, and I'm sure there are a lot of advisors out there that do, but a lot of times our job is to talk to our clients about things that they're maybe not paying attention to. So the default is, hey, do I have enough money?
Right.
Another issue, and there are loads of people who've been talking about this for several years in the financial life planning world, is what are you going to do with your time once you're now done spending 50 hours a week at work, or 60 or
As an
70
almost
or 80?
60-year-old, I'm like, I don't know.
That is a massive hole that a lot of people don't anticipate when they're thinking about what that transition is going to look like. And unfortunately can be a really big time pain point that if you're not thinking about it ahead of time and trying to sort of calibrate for that time, you're gonna, you and your spouse, if you happen to be married, could be up against some challenging times. So just things like that, where you're thinking about different types of
Like downstream impacts of these life transitions that
That's
are
right.
even on the personal side. Well, let's switch to, since this webinar is about content and content, the role content marketing plays. I don't know, do you recall our conversation last October when we were meeting and you were talking about what you wanted to do, and maybe just try to, if you can recall what your challenges were, it might be interesting to everyone just to hear where you were, what you were hoping to do, and you chose to work with Do It For Me, our Do It For Me marketing offering, and in a different way than most customers do. Maybe just talk about that decision and what you were hoping to accomplish, and whether you found success with it.
Yeah, I think I would say what we're learning, and we're still a work in progress here at Mirus Planning. So don't everybody take this as all of a sudden we're the gurus on marketing, but we are learning. We've learned a lot about sort of where we were, and the fact that we needed to be consistent in our method. So said differently, we really didn't have any kind of understanding what kind of cadence we needed. We weren't very clear about digital and using LinkedIn, for example. I mean, I've had a LinkedIn page for 10 years. I swear to God, I don't think we've even posted anything until January on that. There's like an old picture of me from 10 years ago. I'm sure people can relate to this.
Yes.
We didn't understand how to utilize
I think LinkedIn had a rebirth over COVID.
Okay, that's probably true. I mean, and we're seeing LinkedIn being used. It's interesting, if you just from an anecdotal standpoint, a lot of people who are introduced to us and referred to us, I've been checking in with them, and a lot of them check in on us LinkedIn, or they look at us on the website. They're it's an important thing that back in the day I didn't pay any attention to, and all of a sudden I'm like, okay, this is enhancing credibility. As long as we are putting things out there that resonate with the people we're trying to attract.
Absolutely.
So the consistent rhythm, we check in with you guys. Lindsay Till is our marketing strategist, I believe, or specialist. And she checks in with Miley Works and I in the office. And I'm just going to say, Miley skipped out of here. I would have pulled her in on this meeting if she had been here. And she went home to get on it. So Miley, hi. She's trying to stay off of this call, but she's our guru to help integrate the FMG materials systematically on a monthly basis into the stuff that we have already sort of been doing. But it's really given us a sense of rhythm.
So
and
not
control.
everybody probably even knows what the Do It For Me marketing program is. Could you describe the program in your words?
Yeah, so the way that we view it is we get a marketing calendar from FMG and from Lindsay. I think it's about 2 weeks before the month coming up. And we take a look at it. Miley and I get together and we look at the content that's been thrown out there and things that we're like, we like this, we're not going to send that, whatever. We kind of pick and choose what we want to use for our uses for the month coming up. And then a lot of times we will customize it. We'll customize the deliverable. Yeah, there you go.
There we go. This is September. Yeah.
September, right? So we actually like the second page. Do you guys have that second page by any chance? Is that?
Let's see. Let me stop sharing.
That's
I will.
okay.
I can show you because I was just proofing October.
No worries. I didn't mean to put you on that.
The second page has everything listed out by blog.
Yeah,
email,
that's
and I can
super
send,
cool.
You know, we can send this out to everybody, and then you can see there's a big list of social posts. Some
Right.
of all customizable and some of them optional, and then a podcast script. So anyway, you can take it from there.
Yeah. So what we do is we go through the emails and the social media and the blogs and all these different things. And Miley will customize a lot of those things with our, own kind of pictures and photographs and so forth that may resonate more along kind of our brand, so to speak. And it's been fantastic. We're probably posting and putting things out there, I don't know, 7 or 8 times a month from this content. And it's been well received. It's just nice to have a rhythm.
Yeah.
And it's helped us out a lot because really we would have had no idea where to even start.
Yeah. And it's interesting. I'm at Future Proof this week, and we did a panel yesterday with a couple folks, and the topic was customer communications and prospect communications. And what everybody said was, what's difficult is the content, coming up with content, writing the content, and then having consistency and a cadence, because you guys get busy and
Right.
Things happen, and just having time to write 3 blogs and 5 emails and 20 social posts is a lot. But what was interesting, and I think will resonate with a lot of people, is when you and I met and I was describing the program, and just to give a little bit more detail. So FMG has a Do It For Me program. We have tons of content in our library. And then in addition to that, for the Do It For Me folks, which is a small group of people, it's a exclusive program. I am writing the content every month. So I am talking to advisors all the time, like Chad and others, and asking for ideas. And also just, reading a ton to come up with ideas. And every month I come up with 3 blog topics. And then I take those blogs and I create emails out of them, and I version 1 for clients, 1 for prospects, and 1 for centers of influence. So then there are 9 emails for different audiences. And then I write, 15 to 20 social posts. And what we're hearing is that what advisors love for the most part is that they take those and then they customize them. So adding their own photo or changing just a couple of the words so that 90% of the work is done for them, but they customize a little bit and it becomes super authentic. And then for some people, one of the benefits is that our team, your marketing strategist, will execute all of the change, all of this for you. So you receive the content, you read it, you can edit it, you can say, I want this piece, I don't want this piece. And then you can say, now post it all and send it all out for me. Chad has somebody on staff, many of you may as well, and he didn't want that. He's like, I just want the content. That price point is still valuable enough to me, but I want to control the distribution. So maybe talk about
and to correct on one thing, that we do have Lindsay posting things onto our LinkedIn once we modify them.
Yeah.
So she's throwing that up.
Oh,
on
she
LinkedIn
is still
for us.
doing
So
it
she
for
is
you.
helping us
Okay.
with that. So but it's the beauty of that. It's a very cafeteria style kind of an approach. You can kind of do it however you want to do it. So
that's awesome. So why don't share some of the content that can you think of any content that you've used recently that you particularly liked, and maybe just describe some of that?
Yeah, I mean, whether it's, we posted something about 9/11 yesterday, which was very well received, and obviously we believe in that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
We had a dogs day post, I think it was last month, and I threw my dogs in there on the pictures, and everybody seemed to jump into that. You know, a lot of our things that are on LinkedIn they tend to be sort of non-financial and maybe more community based. We posted something about an Alzheimer's walk that we participated in for the last 8 years, or it'll be our 8th year coming up here at the end of this month. That was customized. I think there's another Alzheimer's post that's coming specific from you guys later this month. So we sort of blended things together. And I think that's the whole key. A lot of times we'll see stuff that comes out of your calendar and we're like, that's really great. We might not do it this month, but let's push that to November or whatever it is. And so we are spending a lot of time right now looking back at our own practice cadence to see where things best fit for us from a marketing standpoint. But we have to say, I would say 88-90% of the time, the stuff that we get from you guys is relevant, it's timely, it's well written. And if we do customize it, it's just it might be a picture that we want to throw into the mix. It's not like we're rewriting it. So that's been nice.
So have you, I think everybody's wondering, does it work? There's always like, does it work? I want to make sure if I'm going to invest in this, I want to have ROI. I want to make sure I'm growing or it's making a difference in some way. How is it making a difference? Are you hearing from clients? What do you feel is the benefit? Obviously, I think everybody believes in content marketing, but how would you answer that question?
Well, I think personally for me, the benefit for yours truly running a practice, I've been doing this for 31 years and never really been a marketer. For me personally, we're a mature practice that is still growing, right? I'm 55 years old. I've got people who work for me that are 32 and younger. And we are still in this mode of growing. So we know we need to do some things in a way to be a little bit more consistent in terms of getting out there, showing our work, showing our value. And so from my perspective, just mentally, I feel better. So the ROI, just from that perspective, in terms of saying, we actually have a plan and we're following it, right?
Yes.
It's like we're doing some stuff. Now, feedback, like I said, from new prospective clients, new centers of influence, existing centers of influence are like all of a sudden chiming in and checking in with us. I'm like, wow, they're actually paying attention to this stuff that, again, a year ago, I would have said, this is ridiculous. What am I even doing? I'm just being honest. I'm not the guy who thought we needed to do this, but I'm seeing that there is tangible feedback. Is it necessarily translating into all of a sudden, tons of new business? Not necessarily, but with marketing, you got to think about it as you're planting a lot of seeds.
Totally.
And to me, the consistency of those seeds is really, really, really important. To me, the thing that I always notice where I'm on somebody else's website, it doesn't have to be our industry. It's just industry in general. And you see a newsletter, or you see some sort of announcement or whatever, and it's from 2021,
right?
Or it's from 2018, and you're like, wow, this is really stale. They're not paying attention, or like my old LinkedIn. I mean, I was embarrassed with what I had out there. I'm like, I don't want to put a LinkedIn handle on my email
signature.
address. Yeah.
Actually, Amy, why don't you let's pull up Chad's website. And I'd love you to just talk about how you view your website as it relates to your overall marketing strategy. How often are you updating it? What are you trying to, update on the site? Maybe just give everybody some tips on what do you think are best practices for a website?
Yeah. So,
and you could even take us through, how did you choose the picture? And then maybe we'll start with that, just sort of your overall strategy for the website. And then Amy can take us to really the content heavy part of the website.
Yeah, so I mean, we're very organic, outdoorsy, Northwest people. We take Fridays off in the office in the summertime.
Nice.
That's just one of our things we do, and our clients get it. And because we're out hiking and sea kayaking and playing golf or whatever else we're doing, just like our clients are. So we tend to attract people that look like these folks in this picture and the other photographs that we have on our website.
And I always get the question, how did you find these pictures?
You know, I think we just did a lot of, research on this, and we worked with some folks that were kind of creative folks to kind of help us think through that a little bit.
Yeah.
But
This is beautiful.
yeah, thank you. And then we selectively, if you keep going down here, this is a video that I talk about. If you, I don't want you to click on the video, Amy, by the way.
I love
But this is me talking about why life transitions and sort of the story of my father on this front page, just kind of explain to people why it is that we do what we do, and focus in on that. But we view our job as being a guide for our clients.
I'm just going to pause. What I love that if you go back to that video section, contemplating or experiencing complex and emotional transitions. I like just the word emotional and complex is to me so much more powerful than just saying we serve clients going through, life transitions. So these little tweaks to words, I think, make a big difference. So well done here.
Yeah, well, and you can see that some on the pictures themselves, you'll see that there's a lot of paths, right?
Mhm.
Everybody has their own path in our mind, right?
Right.
So our job, again, as you get down on the bottom, plotting your unique path, and what we do with people, they're, like I said, people are introduced most of the time, even with our marketing efforts that we've been doing, most of the time people are introduced to us by either a happy client, a like-minded professional out there in the world. Rarely are people finding our website through a Google search,
Right.
so getting back to what do we do with our website, most of the time we're trying to direct people here, but it's through people we already know.
Yep.
That's not going to change. We're not going to try to market to 10,000 people in the Seattle area. We're going to continue to work with solid relationships who are CPAs or good attorneys or grief counselors, or you name it, folks that are dealing with people that are kind of dealing with these things.
And then so you believe in keeping the content fresh. As you mentioned, you don't want to have somebody go to a website and see the most recent article of 2019. So is that in the media section?
That's in the media section. The media section,
let's go there.
Yeah, that's right. So what you'll see here are some that you'll see that on right there, 9/12/23, that is a article that we took from FMG, and Miley posted it into our website here. So you'll see that we typically will have 2 new articles every month that comes from our experience with FMG Suites, and then we will put in our own photographs. So you'll see, like on July 11th, 2023, there's Mount St. Helens.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I'm like looking at all these titles. I'm like, oh, I wrote that.
There you go.
But
right.
Yeah, you're changing the images to match your website, which is great.
We change our images. And then if you go down, we will also throw in, let's see here. Let's keep going a little bit.
And you know what? I actually haven't seen the blogs that I've written, live on somebody's site, but you look like you're, writing every day. I mean, this is awesome.
Well, and then if we go down, you see Kyle's Corner there, and you want to click on that March 15th article as an example, Amy, if you want. If you don't, that's okay too. But we will blend together some of our own content, depending upon where we're at, and everybody has their own avatar. So Kyle has a picture of downtown Bellevue here in the Seattle area. I have a picture for my pieces that I put out it's called Behavior Matters, and it's I have some photographs of the 3 sisters in Central Oregon. Miley has Miley's musings, which are kind of
I like that.
a cherry blossom on hers and everything else. But anyway, so we're blending what we've we've done in the past, but not as consistently as what we can do now with you guys helping us.
And you know what? I'm curious. I bet people are wondering, is Miley a full-time marketing staff member? And if so, when did you make the decision to invest in that position? And maybe your thoughts on, whether you give people advice to, hire and invest in somebody on staff, or how does that complement, also hiring, a partner vendor like FMG?
So Miley was a total luck hire. I had no idea was as good at marketing and as good as creative and as good with technology as she is. She really is a client.
And how did you find her? Because everybody always wants to know, how do I find this lucky Miley?
We found her through a headhunter, actually.
Really?
And she was working for a different firm here in the Seattle area at the time. And so this just happens to be an area where she excels. And I'm just like, we need to have you help us with this and she's phenomenal with our clients as well. So she's got
you went to a recruiter with a position and hired somebody to help you find it. What was the job description? Was it strictly marketing or was it broader?
No, it wasn't marketing. That's my point. I mean, she just happened to have the skill set to do a really great job in this, but this was something that we did not have. We didn't know anything about it until we started working together, and we're like, oh my gosh, you're pretty good at this. But she didn't understand from a cadence standpoint and a system standpoint how to make it work. But she does everything with whether we're using MailChimp to send things out. We are using just something as an example that we just tweaked yesterday. We have created this Mirus Media monthly digest that we're sending out once somebody just sent something in chat. I just saw this. We're sending out an email to our prospects, to our clients, to our centers of influence, kind of an update of the events that are going on for us coming up, an update of the new articles, and we're trying to direct everybody to this Mirus Media tab.
That's excellent. So what is everybody saw, what I'm writing for our Do It For Me customers. And obviously FMG has a humongous library that's available to all of our customers. And then you're writing, in addition, some of your own content. And hopefully what I'm assuming is by having some of the foundational elements, it frees you up to do some of that. What is the right what's the right cadence in your mind of emailing to clients and or prospects?
So where we're kind of landing right now is probably going to, it depends whether it's a client service related matter or if it's a kind of ongoing marketing. So we kind of think that the monthly digest is going to be a monthly thing, once a month.
Yeah, and to both clients and prospects, right?
That's correct. And centers of influence. So everybody knows, hey, we've got the Alzheimer's walk coming up. We've got a workshop seminar on aging coming up in November. We're kind of giving people a heads up. We try to do an event like that once a quarter, where we'll bring in an outside expert and we'll do an interview, sort of like what we're doing here.
Yep. And do you use the FMG meeting, the meeting pages to help promote the webinar?
I'm not familiar with the meeting pages. So maybe I should become.
You should. And I'm going to just be totally transparent. We're getting a question as to whether, so you mentioned MailChimp.
Yeah.
Do you use FMG to email and MailChimp, or do you just use MailChimp? And if so, honestly, tell us why you made that decision.
I think the only reason that MailChimp's been continued to be used here is because we were using it before FMG, and it was just something that Miley was comfortable using. I think we could probably move to the other system if we needed to, but that's Miley. That's a question for you. I can ask what she's doing there, but that's.
And I think that's just another. I used to work for a wonderful woman named Valerie Brown, who many people may know in the industry, but she used to say, you've met one advisor, you've met one advisor. There's no right way to operate. There are best practices, but every business, every firm has its own way of doing it. And I think, finding partners that are flexible enough that you can use them the way they work for you is the right decision. There's no, forced fit.
I think that's exactly right. That's been our experience, has been we're probably not using you to the extent that we could at this point. But again, you can only do so much to start, right?
Amy, why
I
don't you
think-
show us the other parts of the this media section? So
Sure.
we've looked at oh,
Yeah,
so
so
you've
we-
got video too. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
we have all sorts of video, and different things about why
And are you producing these?
we are, yeah. So we've done a lot of this ourselves. And you know, these are fairly, we're actually spending a lot more time on video. We're working through your I think it was the webinar that I saw with you and Proudmouth. That was
Yeah.
this summer. We're working towards starting a podcast.
Excellent.
Probably in 2024. We've got a lot on our plate right now, but the idea would be to start working on those, you know, 4 or 5 ahead of time before we start unleashing that. But
Well-
likely that'll be more of a interview sort of
So
podcast.
in a year, I think, Amy, you can stop sharing. In a year, you've gone from doing almost nothing
Yeah.
to you look like a superstar. So I think you may have some people that are like, all right, he's already got those videos. Now he's doing a podcast. I mean, what would your advice be to those that are on this call and maybe where you were a year ago? I mean, what would you suggest they do to get from where you were a year ago to what looks like you look like a pretty fantastic marketer?
I
And
think
no plug for FMG needed. There's like,
No,
what would be your
no.
advice?
I think step one is figuring out who you want to be, right? That is, who are you serving? Who do you want to be? Who do you want to attract? Do you want to grow? Maybe you don't. I mean, you know, hey, that's okay. We made the decision that we did want to grow, and we want to add new best fit type clients, right? We sort of have this mantra, you know, they sort of need to be a 9 out of 10. Right.
Yep.
For that's who we're looking for. And hopefully they're looking for the same. Hopefully
Yeah.
they look at us and they say, because it's a two-way street. I would say engage with somebody who has a system that you can utilize to whatever level it is you're trying to achieve, right?
Yep.
You know, we've been pleasantly surprised and happy with what our experience has been. It takes the guesswork out of it. Well worth the time and money that we've spent on using you guys. So that, I guess, is a little plug, but it's been, for us, it's helped us a lot in terms of having a system.
Yeah.
We're big process driven folks here. It's something that we have to, you know, do with a lot of other things because we don't have somebody to really build it out for us. So we're building it ourselves. And I think the other piece to it was be patient.
Yes.
You're not gonna
patient.
necessarily, the corn is not gonna all of a sudden be growing in the field right away. And understand what is the reason, what is the purpose, you know, that you're doing. Why are you marketing?
Yeah.
What defines success for you as far as a marketing approach? What, you know, be realistic about what
And
that looks like.
when you get, like, if you were to focus on actual tactics and, you know, what do I need to do as it relates to marketing? Like you said, ideal client, yes, and messaging, yes, but we showed your website. We've talked and shown a lot of content. We've talked about emails. We've talked about centers of influence. Like, if you were to give suggestions as to what you think makes up great, you know, good marketing, you know, at sort of the entry level, and then obviously you can go up with video and podcast. But if people just want to get started, what do you think are the most important ingredients to a successful marketing plan?
I think you have to have a brand that represents your firm, the people that
How do you build so is that?
I think working with people like you guys or whoever to kind of have a conversation and say, look, this is who we are. This is who we're trying to attract. This is what we believe, and be able to communicate that in a way that is compelling for a prospective client or an existing client, and get your client's input too, by the way, and say, yeah, that is me.
Yeah.
I do care.
There's
I do
nothing
care
better
about
than
more than
asking
just money.
clients. Like, how would you describe us?
Yeah, I mean, seriously, that's what we did. we got all sorts of feedback from some of our very best clients to say, why do you work with us?
And those are the best words to use.
Yeah.
And then how does content, blogs, emails, and social posts, how does that fit in? And, is that something that you would, recommend? Yes, it's a patient game, but is it something that you think has strong ROI over time? Does
I
it
just
play
think
into your brand?
I think you have to be careful with regard to the content that you put out there, that it is either supporting your messaging or it completely flies in the face of kind of your mantra. So I'll give a perfect example of this. Let's say you have you throw out, I mean, this is the classic financial services 101, in my opinion, what not to do. Markets are free falling 30%, and we're sending out a bunch of graphs about, what's happened over the last 30 years when markets are in a downturn. To me, that just adds to the anxiety our clients already have. So I think you have to think about what it is, what your messaging is. It supportive of how you view the world?
Yep.
Or is what you're putting out is it adding to the noise?
Exactly. Again, that fear of loss, people want a hug, and I think back to COVID, I mean, advisors were able to picked up clients because you may not realize you were marketing, but you were communicating and giving sort of those virtual hugs and telling people,
Right.
You're okay, I've got you. You were doing that. You just weren't, maybe writing 10 blogs or leveraging FMG at that time, but communicating at times, especially when there's volatility. And I think everybody knows this, but sometimes it's hard to do because you, again, have to write the content, but that is some of the most powerful marketing you can do.
Yeah.
And will generate the most new clients. There's a survey that YCharts did, and since COVID, 25% of clients that were surveyed, these were advised investors working with an advisor, they surveyed 700, and 20% of them had changed advisors since 2020, and 25% of them had considered. So in all, 45% of those 700 advised investors had at least thought about leaving. And that same group said that they either heard from their advisor infrequently or rarely, and there's a strong correlation. So I think communication to your existing clients with valuable content, dripping that same content on your prospects, adding that same content to your website, adding it in a different format and length to social, those things are what pays off. And what's challenging is what you mentioned, the cadence and the consistency, and knowing who you are.
I would just say the other piece to it is, again, I'm not saying that the digital, what we just described, is the only thing you do.
What else do you do?
So, well, we have all sorts of in-person, we're doing a ton of in-person type things, which, by the way, all kind of stopped with COVID.
Yeah.
And even last year was sort of slowly kind of matriculating up. And
what's
now,
your next in-person thing? Give everybody some ideas.
Well, so I'm a big fan of not doing bigger group in-person things. Like I take clients to lunch, I take clients to dinner. We have more intimate type events. We are thinking about actually doing an event at a winery in the first quarter of next year. That's going to likely be an in-person type event, and it may include some economic updates of some sort, but more than likely it'd be more like a dinner and just an opportunity for people to get out of the house and do those types of things. But I'm just saying that I think that what we're talking about with FMG and our website and LinkedIn and everything else is complementary to continuing to do those in-person visits, whether that's with a CPA or your clients. So,
Amy just threw out a great marketing tip that we were just discussing, because we share marketing tips, of course, as well through FMG, but one that everybody can leverage, and it is definitely not brand new. I'm sure some of you have heard of it and maybe even do it, but as we get closer to November, doing a pie giveaway. Chad, I don't know if you've ever done this, but
no.
Inviting both customers and then asking them if they want to share it with a friend, and doing a pie giveaway. And you can, create if you're an FMG customer, you can use our platform to create an RSVP, a landing page with an RSVP form, where you can do it, more manually, just have them email you and request. Some people have a drive-through or a come to the office on a particular day. They take a bunch of pictures. It becomes great for social. There's a lot of buzz. Others, you can, just have people make an appointment and just come one-on-one, and you get that one-on-one. But not many people say no to a free pie if they're in your area. And obviously many of you have customers that are not local, but there's also a great website that I use when I want to send surprise and delights called Gold Belly.
Yeah.
No affiliation, and I'm not recommending them. Like, I'm not receiving any compensation, but I use Gold Belly. That's another way you could send pies to those that are not near. But there's just a little event tip as we're entering the holiday season. So with that, I know we're aiming to, just take 45 minutes out of people's time. And we had some great questions, and I couldn't get to all of them while I was talking, but I will download the chat and make sure I respond to everybody. I am going to just put up one last slide so that we have a QR code for anybody that is, gosh, let me find Amy, you don't have, oh yeah, here we go. All right, hold on one sec. And somebody mentioned that I do keep way too many tabs open. For sure, you can tease me. It's moving to the world of Google, where every document is within Google. It becomes a tab instead of a document, has dramatically impacted that. But here is a QR code if anybody is interested in learning more about FMG solutions. And if you would like to email me, you can reach me at marketing@fmgsuite.com, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. If you have more of a one-on-one question, I'm pretty responsive and super eager and happy to help. And it was just a pleasure having you here, Chad. It's always just great to talk to you. I know the audience has walked away with a lot of actionable feedback and ideas. And we are always so honored that you audience take time to join us. It means so much to all of us. I really appreciate it. And I hope it was a good use of your time, and that you have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Susan. Thanks for
everyone.
having me.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right.